$100 million offers, How to Make Offers So Good People Feel Stupid Saying No, by Alex Hormozi. Introduction. Picture this. It's Christmas Eve, 2016. A young man named Alex sits in a dark movie theater, but he's not watching the film. His face is pale, his jawline gaunt from weeks of stress that have stolen his appetite. His girlfriend, Layla, sitting beside him, feels his hand. It's clammy. She feels his wrist, and her eyes widen with concern. His heart is racing at 100 beats per minute, nearly double what it should be for a healthy 27-year-old at rest. He's not watching the movie, he's staring blankly at the screen, terrified. Just a few hours earlier, he was scrunched up on a child's miniature chair in his in-laws' playroom, the only office he had. He had just gotten off the phone with a payment processor, a voice on the other end telling him that the $120,000 in sales he had made, money he desperately needed, was being held for the next 6 months as a precaution. He pleaded with the man, explaining he had a salesman with a baby on the way who needed to be paid. But the voice was cold, robotic. Policy is policy. He hung up and looked at his bank account. It read $23,036. He owed his salesman a $22,000 commission check. Without a second thought, he wired the money. A notification popped up, payment successful, his new balance, $1,036. And this was after his business partner had already drained their joint account, stealing every penny from the sale of his gyms, the last 4 years of his life's work, gone in an instant. He was living in his girlfriend's parents' house. He had no money, no business, and a mountain of debt. He turned to the woman who believed in him, Layla, and told her the truth. "I've got nothing," he said, staring at the floor, embarrassed. "I'm a sinking ship, and you don't have to stay with me." She grabbed his chin, looked him in the eyes, and said, "I would sleep with you under a bridge if it came to that." With only 2 things left to his name, a woman who believed in him, and an old business credit card with a high limit, he made a decision. On the day after Christmas, he went all in. He launched his new business, Gym Launch, spending $3,300 a day of money he didn't have. He was going into debt at a rate of over $400 per hour. Most people would have declared bankruptcy. Most people would have quit. But Alex Hormozi is not most people. And the skill he used to climb out of that hole? The skill that took him from less than zero to a portfolio of companies doing over $100 million in sales? Is exactly what we're going to uncover today. This isn't just a story about business. It's a story about survival, about resilience, and about discovering a fundamental truth that can change everything. By the end of our time together, you will understand how to craft an offer so good, people feel stupid saying no. And you will see that this one skill is the closest thing to a magic trick that exists in the world of business. Book summary. So, what is the secret? What is this one skill that can turn abject failure into unimaginable success? When a young Alex Hormozi, long before the fame and fortune, paid $3,000, he didn't have to be in a Las Vegas penthouse with 10 other business owners. He felt completely out of his league. He didn't understand their talk of KPIs or conversion rates. The organizer, a man named TJ, saw the lost look in his eyes, pulled him aside, and asked a question that would change his life forever. "Do you want to know the secret to sales?" Alex leaned in, ready for a complex formula, a secret script, a hidden technique. And TJ simply said, "Make people an offer so good they would feel stupid saying no." That one sentence is the entire foundation of this book, and it's a lesson that most business owners, and most people, never learn. We spend our lives thinking we need to be better salespeople, that we need to be more persuasive, more charismatic. But Hormozi realized that the secret isn't in how you sell, but in what you sell. You see, most businesses live in a world of sameness. They become a commodity. Think about it. When you need a plumber, or a coffee shop, or a gym, what do? You probably look up a few options, and if they all seem more or less the same, you pick the cheapest one. This is the commodity trap. When customers can't tell the difference between you and your competitors, they will always default to the lowest price. This creates a brutal race to the bottom, where businesses cut their prices and their profits just to survive. They end up working 100 hours a week just to avoid working a 40-hour job, essentially buying themselves a prison of their own making. Hormozi's core message is that you must escape this trap. You must create an offer that is so unique, so valuable, and so different that it cannot be compared to anything else. You want to create a category of one, where the customer's decision is not between you and a competitor, but between you and doing nothing. When you achieve that, price becomes irrelevant. The conversation shifts from "how much does it cost?" to "how can I get this?" But before you can even begin to build such an offer, you have to find the right people to give it to. This was a lesson Hormozi learned from a famous marketing parable. If you were going to open a hot dog stand and could only have one advantage over your competitors, what would it be? The best location? The highest quality hot dogs? The lowest prices? The students in the story guessed all of these things. But the professor smiled and replied, "A starving crowd." You could have the worst hot dogs in the world, in the worst location, at the highest price. But if you are the only food stand outside a stadium right after a championship game, you will sell out. This is the power of a great market. A great offer given to the wrong audience will fall on deaf ears. You don't want to be selling ice to Eskimos. Your job is not to create demand. It is to find a starving crowd and channel their existing desire. So how do you find this starving crowd? Hormozi lays out 4 simple criteria for a winning market. First, they must be in massive pain. They don't just want a solution, they desperately need one. The degree of their pain is proportional to the price you can charge. As he says, the pain is the pitch. If you can articulate someone's problem better than they can, they will automatically assume you have the solution. Second, they must have purchasing power. It sounds obvious, but a friend of his once created a brilliant service to help unemployed people improve their resumes. It was a great service for people in massive pain, but he couldn't make any sales. Why? His target market had no money. You must serve people who can actually afford what you're worth. Third, they must be easy to target. If your ideal customers are scattered everywhere like needles in a haystack, reaching them will be expensive and difficult. But if they all belong to the same associations, follow the same social media accounts, or read the same magazines, then you can get your offer in front of them easily and affordably. And fourth, the market must be growing. A growing market is like having a tailwind pushing you forward. A shrinking market is like a headwind, making everything 10 times harder. He tells the story of his brilliant friend, Lloyd, who had a fantastic software business serving newspapers. Despite having a great product and a no-brainer offer, his business was slowly dying. It wasn't his fault. He was selling to a market that was shrinking by 25% every year. The moment Lloyd pivoted to a growing market, manufacturing masks during the pandemic, he was doing millions per month within 5 months. Same entrepreneur, different market. Now, once you've found your starving crowd, it's time to build the offer. And this is where Hormozi introduces his most powerful tool, the value equation. This is the blueprint for creating value out of thin air. The equation looks like this. Value equals dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement, time delay times effort and sacrifice. Let's break that down, because understanding this is like being handed the keys to the kingdom. On the top of the equation, we have the 2 things you want to increase. First, the dream outcome. This is the result your customer is hoping for. It's not about the features of your product, it's about the transformation they will experience. People don't buy a gym membership, they buy the feeling of confidence in a swimsuit. They don't buy a marketing service, they buy the status and security that comes with a flood of new customers. The more you can attach your offer to their deepest desires, like health, wealth, and relationships, the more valuable it will be. Second, the perceived likelihood of achievement. This is your customer's belief that your offer will actually work for them. People pay for certainty. This is why you'd pay a surgeon who has done 10,000 successful operations far more than one who is doing their very first. You can increase this with testimonials, case studies, statistics, and most importantly, a powerful guarantee, which we'll get to in a moment. On the bottom of the equation are the two things you want to decrease. Third, time delay. This is the time between when your customer buys and when they receive the promised value. The faster you can deliver the result, the more valuable your offer is. As Hormozi says, fast beats free. People will always pay for speed. This is why Amazon Prime, with its next-day delivery, dominates e-commerce. Even if your ultimate dream outcome takes time, you should engineer small, quick wins for your customers early on. That first taste of progress gives them the momentum to stick with the process for the long haul. And fourth, effort and sacrifice. This is how much work your customer has to put in to get the result. The less they have to do, the more valuable your offer. This is why done-for-you services are always more expensive than do-it-yourself courses. Look at weight loss. You could spend a year dieting and exercising 5 times a week. That involves immense effort and sacrifice. Or you could get liposuction and have the result in an afternoon. Even though the dream outcome is similar, the second option requires almost zero effort, which is why people will pay tens of thousands of dollars for it. The secret to creating a grand slam offer is to maximize the top of the equation while shrinking the bottom to as close to zero as possible. Think about it. If you could provide the dream outcome with 100% certainty, instantly, and with zero effort from the customer, you would have an infinitely valuable offer. No one can achieve infinity, but the closer you get, the more you can charge. This equation also explains why you should charge a premium price. Many business owners think they need to be cheaper to be competitive. Hormozi argues this is the fastest way to fail. He calls it the virtuous cycle of price. When you charge more, you attract better clients, clients who are more committed and less demanding. You have more profit, which allows you to invest in a better product, a better team, and a better customer experience. This leads to better results for your clients, which creates more testimonials, which allows you to charge even more. It's a cycle that feeds itself. Conversely, when you charge less, you attract the worst clients, the complainers who are never satisfied. You have no profit margin, so you can't afford to deliver a great experience. Your service suffers, your clients get poor results, and you get bad reviews, forcing you to lower your prices even further just to get anyone in the door. This is the vicious cycle of price, a death spiral that ends in burnout and failure. He even points to a fascinating study on wine. Researchers gave tasters the exact same wine 3 times, but told them one was cheap, one was mid-priced, and one was expensive. Unsurprisingly, the tasters rated the expensive wine as tasting the best. The price itself changed their perception of the value. Raising your price can literally make your product better in the eyes of your customer. So, now we have the blueprint. We know we need to find a starving crowd and use the value equation. But how do you actually build the offer, piece by piece? Hormozi lays out a brilliant 5-step process. Step 1. Identify the dream outcome. We've talked about this. Get crystal clear on the transformation your customer desires. Step 2. List all the problems. This is where you put yourself in your customer's shoes and brainstorm every single obstacle, roadblock, and fear they have on their journey to that dream outcome. Think of everything, from the big problems to the tiny annoyances. The more problems you can identify, the more value you can create. Step 3. Turn the problems into solutions. Now, take that list of problems and, one by one, turn them into solutions. Frame them as how-to statements. For example, if a problem for someone wanting to lose weight is "I don't have time to cook healthy meals," your solution becomes how to cook delicious, healthy meals in under 5 minutes. Each problem you solve is a piece of your offer. Step 4. Create the delivery vehicles. This is the how. For each solution, brainstorm all the different ways you could deliver it. Could you do it one-on-one, in a small group, through a video course, a checklist, a software tool, a live workshop? Don't limit yourself here. The goal is to think of as many options as possible. This is what Hormozi calls divergent thinking, coming up with many solutions to a single problem. Step 5. Trim and stack. Now you have a huge list of potential deliverables. The final step is to trim them down and stack them into your final offer. First, remove anything that is low value for the customer but high cost for you to deliver. What you want to keep are the things that are high value for them but low cost for you. A checklist or a template, for example, takes time to create once, but you can give it away forever at no additional cost. These are your golden assets. You then stack all these valuable deliverables together into one massive bundle. The goal is for the customer to look at everything they're getting and think, "I get all this for only that? I'd be a fool not to take this." You've now built your core offer. But we're not done. The final step is to wrap this offer in a layer of psychological triggers that make it truly irresistible. Hormozi focuses on 5 key enhancers. First is scarcity. People want what they can't have. When something is in limited supply, its perceived value skyrockets. This is why limited edition sneakers sell for thousands of dollars. You can create scarcity by limiting the number of clients you take on, either in total or per week. For example, we only accept 5 new clients per week, and 3 spots are already taken. The key is to be honest about your capacity and to always let people know when you've sold out. This builds social proof and makes people act faster next time. Second is urgency. While scarcity is about quantity, urgency is about time. A deadline forces a decision. Hormozi says, deadlines drive decisions. You can create urgency by having promotions that end on a specific date, or by having cohorts of clients that start on a specific day. If you sign up today, you can join our group starting Monday. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for the next one. This simple nudge can dramatically increase conversions because it leverages our natural fear of missing out. Third are bonuses. A single offer is less valuable than the same offer broken down into its component parts and presented as a core offer with a stack of bonuses. Remember the infomercials? But wait, there's more. They establish a price for the main product, and then they keep adding bonuses until the value seems so overwhelming that the price feels like a steal. Each bonus should solve a specific problem or fear the customer has. And you should always assign a value to each bonus. The total value of your bonuses should be far greater than the price of the core offer. Fourth is the guarantee. The single biggest objection to any sale is risk, the fear that the product won't work. A powerful guarantee completely reverses this risk. Instead of a weak 30-day money-back guarantee, Hormozi advocates for creative, powerful guarantees that show you have absolute conviction in your product. For example, a service guarantee: if you don't achieve X result, we will continue to work with you for free until you do. This kind of guarantee is often more powerful than a refund because it promises the outcome, which is what the customer wanted in the first place. A truly great guarantee can double or even triple your sales overnight. And finally, there's naming. The name of your offer is the wrapper. It's the first thing people see, and it needs to grab their attention and communicate value instantly. Hormozi provides a simple formula for this, which he calls the MAGIC formula. It stands for Make a magnetic reason why, for example, free, back-to-school sale. Announce your avatar, for example, for busy moms. Give them a goal, for example, the lean body. Indicate a time interval, for example, in 6 weeks. Complete with a container word, for example, challenge, blueprint, masterclass. So, instead of a boring weight loss program, you get a compelling free 6-week lean body challenge for busy moms. Same program, different wrapper. And that wrapper can make all the difference. This is the journey Alex Hormozi lays out. It's a roadmap for escaping the commodity trap and building a business that not only survives, but thrives. It starts with finding a starving crowd. It's built on the foundation of the value equation. It's constructed with a 5-step process to solve every one of your customers' problems. And it's enhanced with the psychological firepower of scarcity, urgency, bonuses, guarantees, and a killer name. It's this exact process that took him from having just over $1,000 to his name on Christmas Eve to building a business empire. It's not about magic. It's about a skill. A skill that, once learned, can change everything. Commentary. As we wrap up our journey through Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers, I want to take a moment to reflect on why this book has had such a profound impact on the world of entrepreneurship. On the surface, it's a tactical guide to making better offers. But underneath, it's a powerful lesson in human psychology and a philosophical shift in how we think about value. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the idea that the offer is the most leveraged point in any business. We spend so much time worrying about marketing, sales, and operations. We try to optimize our funnels, improve our scripts, and streamline our fulfillment. But Hormozi argues that a truly grand slam offer makes all of those things exponentially easier. A great offer doesn't need a world-class salesperson. It sells itself. A great offer generates word-of-mouth referrals naturally. It pulls customers in rather than forcing you to push your message out. It's the engine that drives the entire business. What's truly brilliant is how he deconstructs the abstract concept of value into a simple, practical formula. The value equation is one of those ideas that, once you see it, you can never unsee it. You start analyzing every product, every service, every decision you make through its lens. You realize that the most successful companies in the world are masters of this equation. Amazon didn't just sell products, it obsessed over shrinking the time delay and the effort required to buy them. Apple didn't just make phones, it created a dream outcome of status and simplicity, and an ecosystem that gave users a high perceived likelihood of a seamless experience. This book is a call to stop competing and start creating. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing and pricing yourself a little bit lower. Stop being a commodity. Instead, have the courage to be different. Have the courage to charge what you're truly worth, and then have the integrity to deliver 10 times that in value. The virtuous cycle of price isn't just a business strategy, it's a moral one. It's a commitment to excellence, a commitment to serving your clients at the highest possible level. So, what can you do with this today? I want to leave you with 2 simple actions. First, take just 10 minutes and think about your own starving crowd. Whether you have a business or are just thinking about one, who is the group of people you are most uniquely equipped to serve? Who is in massive pain, has purchasing power, is easy to target, and is part of a growing market? Just identifying that group is the first and most important step. Second, apply the value equation to one thing you do. It could be your business, a project at work, or even how you present an idea to your family. Ask yourself, how can I increase the dream outcome? How can I boost the perceived likelihood of success? And most importantly, How can I radically decrease the time delay and the effort and sacrifice required? Focusing on shrinking the bottom half of that equation is often where the biggest breakthroughs happen. That was a summary of $100 million offers by Alex Hormozi. We've explored the core principles today, but I have to be honest with you. A summary is like looking at a picture of a magnificent feast. You can see the colors and shapes, but you can't taste the food. The real magic of this book is in the details, the stories, and the sheer energy that jumps off the page. This summary is designed to give you the blueprint, to help you decide if this is a tool you need in your toolbox. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a fire in you, if it has made you rethink what's possible, then I truly encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning business tactics, it's an experience that can fundamentally change the way you see value, and by extension, the way you see the world. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets us know we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.